Okay.
That's when they had those wires.
Well, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And thank you for coming to the February 11th, 2014 meeting of your Town Conservation Commission. We have 3 items originally, 3 new items, but of one of those, Commissioners, the last one, involving 275 Chestnut Street, Nancy and I made an executive decision to reschedule that because although we had advertised it, the homeowner, or at least the contractor, Mr. Vu, had not noted sent notices to the abutter. So I think the practice used to be you'd still go ahead and have the meeting, but I think there's an open meeting issue here. So the easiest thing to do is do it all over again. So and the contractor unfortunately has to pay for the newspaper advertisement again. But so that one has been moved to March 11th. Is that okay? But we have, I'd like to go straight to new business, if I may.
Sure.
Is that okay? And the first item we have is the notice of intent by CCL Abington Fundog LLC to construct a new showroom with associated utilities, walkways, 2 new parking places, and a stormwater management basin for roof runoff at 225 Groveland Street. Do we have a DEP number for this?
Yes.
We do.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 84,476.
So it's DEP number. Oh, thank you. -0476. So, who do we have here for that?
I'm Harvey Hurwitz from Cape Cod Lumber.
Hi, Mr. Herbert. Let me quickly introduce us all. My name is Dennis Bergen.
Joe Feeney.
Kathy Creighton.
Jerry Kelleher.
Mike Noonan.
Russ Forsyth.
Bill Stone.
Okay. And you've got
And
actually...
I also have
Design.
Brandon Lee, who is from Kelly Engineering.
Okay, come on up, Mr. Lee. Do you want me to get another chair for you? Let me get a second chair. We're pretty informal here, but be careful of the wires. So this was that terrific project that you did on 225 Groveland Street, where you're going to do some more construction.
Yes. The way this came about is initially we were going to split the company up and have the showroom itself remain at the old location, and we were going to redevelop that site. After a period of time, when we moved out, we realized that really wasn't working well. The main thing being that the people that were left behind were really not as much a part of the company anymore. It was almost like being separated, and it wasn't really what we were trying to achieve. We were trying to consolidate the company in the first place, everyone together. Also, from a management standpoint, for staffing, and even from a customer standpoint, we found it to be very inconvenient. The reason we wanted to stay there in the first place is that's actually a much better location for a retail showroom. One being such a high visibility area, so high traffic. It's where we've always been. Being across from a Lowe's was actually a positive, but, you know, the separation more than outweighed, you know, the benefits, you know, going forward. So one day I was walking around and I said, no, we didn't start the project yet, so let's see what we can do about moving it here. And, you know, we felt this was a very good alternative.
Excellent. Mr. Lee, you're the design professional on this. Excuse me, I'm just going to give the plan that you have. There are some abutters here, so I'm going to give them just the filing, a copy of the filing you gave to us. So go ahead, Mr. Lee.
Resource areas on the site includes bordering vegetated wetlands, perennial stream located on the east side of the property, and isolated vegetated wetlands. Bordering wetlands to the west of the property were reflagged by Ecotech in July of 2012 and has been approved by the commission in amended order of conditions dated November 27, 2012. As already mentioned, we're proposing a 12,000 square foot design center showroom, along with some sidewalks, outdoor patio, and a stormwater management basin. The stormwater management basin is designed to recharge and mitigate all the storm events from the clean roof runoff. All other runoffs from the site will be mitigated by the existing stormwater management system. This the site plan. This proposed project will be located in primarily in previously disturbed and cleared areas. This used to be the area of the existing the old single-family house, and it will occur within that area and be a backyard. Resource areas will be protected by erosion control line containing silt socks. The grading on the site will also be minimized by extending the foundation wall at the rear of the building. This way, the foundation wall is going to be lower by about 5 feet from the finished floor, so that we don't have to grade towards the resource areas. It will minimize grading. Utilities on the site, we will connect into the sewer system, sewer main. That was constructed to tie into Daniel Drive, and we will tie into that sewer line, as well as water is also available on the site. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioners. Do you have any comments or questions?
The detention, the basin that you're putting in, is it a detention or a retention basin?
It's a recharge. It's an infiltration basin.
So it's a retention.
Yes.
And where is max high groundwater in comparison to the bottom of the retention basin?
2 feet of separation from the bottom of the system to maximum high groundwater.
Doesn't it need 4?
Only if you use an infiltration rate. If you design the system to include an infiltration rate, you need to provide 4 feet of separation. But we've designed it to hold the water, and we did not include an infiltration rate.
Will there be standing water in that? For how long will standing water be in there, and how often?
We've done a drain downtime of less than 72 hours, which complies with DEP.
And will that area, do you plan to fence that area, or what are you going to do with that area? Because it's very close to the street.
It will be landscaped.
But it won't be fenced.
With trees. We're not proposing a fence.
Any other questions?
How far from the flagged wetland area is the building? How far away is it?
Closest point is 23 feet.
23 feet?
And that would be at 2 corners. You can see the way that the wetlands kind of swing around. I think for most of it, the depth is significantly greater than that.
Did we, Kathy, get a storm report?
I didn't get a chance to look at it because it, but I guess we have one copy of it. I was skimming through it beforehand, and I think if I understand it correctly, they're putting in a new basin. They're going to take the roof drains, and it's going to go to the existing stormwater system, right?
The roof drains are going into the...
Oh, they're going into this too, so all the drainage is going here. Nothing is going to the other system.
Just the sidewalk
Just the
very
sidewalk?
small, And then
Okay.
the patio. The complete site development plans and the stormwater management report and the entire system has been fully reviewed by the planning board's peer review consultant, Beals and Thomas. They've also prepared some comments, a few minor comments, which we have addressed, and those comments are reflected on these plans.
So has the planning board approved the plans now
Yes,
at their last meeting?
yes. And we have also been before the zoning board of appeals, and they will close that after the 30-day.
I still have, I'm sorry, I have a hesitation towards anything that might have standing water in it. You know, we have one, the yellow freight, and it always is a problem. So that's my only worry about that basin, is that it's gonna have standing water in it. And because usually we have something that's a detention rather than a infiltration. It's better for the groundwater, it's better for the water to do with that. It's just a matter of how well it's gonna work. And then the fact that it's near the street and it might have standing water in it has me concerned about, you know, kids walking by or whatever.
I think the other site that they built has standing water on it, doesn't it? It has.
But it's like right next to the wetland, and you know, it's just one of those where if it works well, a little bit of standing water for 24 hours isn't so bad. It's just that you don't want to see it for weeks.
I'd like to add that the bottom of the pond is at elevation 133, and the outlet of the outlet control structure is 134.2, so that's only about a foot, 1.2 feet. And that's, you know, when it fills up, and then after, you know, a certain time it's going to infiltrate.
Are there any other comments?
Where did it infiltrate?
It will infiltrate in the pond through the soils.
Okay.
It's supposed to infiltrate back into the ground.
Well, I know there's a stream on the side over there. It goes right down the whole property.
Is the stream on the other side, or is it, where is it?
It's
over by the landfill, right?
There's a stream on the left side.
On the west side?
Yeah, right like where that blue line is.
Yeah.
A little bit further over, there's a stream. I'm from Daniel Drive.
Sorry, what's your name again?
Rick Waterker,
And where do you live?
59 Daniel Drive.
So on the map, can you show us on the map where you think the stream is?
Well, I'm up here. And the stream's right over here, going down this way.
And you think it borders the site?
I know it gets wetter down that way. You know,
I mean, there are wetlands.
Right, yeah.
You know,
But that, the stream water just runs down there till about, must be a dry time around July or something. But all through spring and stuff, it runs down into that.
The stream has been there, there is a stream there. There may be an intermittent stream in the wetlands, which is not a perennial stream, so it only has a 100-foot buffer, and the wetlands line is closer, so the buffer, we're closer to the buffer of the wetlands line than the intermittent stream.
So does the elevation run higher in the back and then lower in the front towards the street? So there wouldn't be any groundwater going back towards that Daniel Drive, right?
The stream goes up from Catherine down.
And then, so it comes down, okay.
So it flows south.
It would-
So
Yeah,
it
it
would
would close
filter
out.
there, and then it would go towards the street.
I believe there's a gradual rise in the elevation going up
Up to the
towards
back.
Daniel Drive.
From what I've gone by and looked at it, it looks that way. It's a gradual one, it's not a, but I just didn't know if you had it mapped out on the map, what the elevation was there.
Yeah, it's
On that.
right up on here. You can see, sorry, I just was looking at my phone to look at where it is. There's the property, and there's like a, you can see a
Right.
different color going down, and then it stops. It's just, It is,
It sort of goes into a wetland.
yeah, goes into the wetland.
Okay, I'm not concerned like with our property because we're above it.
Understand.
Just it adds more water down there.
So, was the stream evaluated, the intermittent stream, in the previous filings? Because we're all new, so we didn't see the earlier filing much. Do you know?
I believe, I wasn't involved in that as well,
Mhm.
but I believe the wetlands line was approved.
Yes, yes. I agree with the wetlands line being approved by the whole board. Doesn't look like it's it's listed on the USGS as a map, so it's probably not perennial. The intermittent's probably appropriate, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the significance of that would be that if it was an actual stream, it would be 200 buffers there. But as Mr. Feeney pointed out, the real significance is the water going back in
Yes.
to the stream. And that's the issue. I noted that there's only actually 2 extra parking spaces put on the plan rather than a new, parking area. Sorry, I just looking at the Wizard of Oz disembodied voice. I was trying to get it on camera. But I noticed there's only 2 parking spaces, so the actual range doesn't change that much at all. Are there any other questions from commissioners? Are there any other comments from the floor? No. And this way I was able to actually get you on camera. But, well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to close out the meeting and then after our next item do the orders. What do you think? Or should we do the orders now? What's the easiest way of doing it?
Probably just get this over and done with.
You're dead right. So let's Mr. Lee, we're now going to have a vote to close out your meeting, accept as your notes of intent, and we're going to have a rediscussion and do the orders. If it comes to us. Cool. Okay, do I have a motion to close the meeting on this?
Meeting or is it a hearing?
Just of the hearing on the DP 084-0476 for 225 Groveland Street as amended. Do I have a motion to close out that hearing? Yeah, Russell?
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favour?
Aye.
So now we just need to do our orders. Okay, so looking at our standard orders of condition, looking at erosion and sedimentation controls, the wetlands, they're right on the wetlands or within
23 feet.
20
At the closest point.
Yeah. So these would apply, I think. And it begins A1, prior to commencement of activity, a siltation fence barrier shall be placed on a limit of work line. How many feet? How many feet is your plan to put? Because you were talking about putting not actually a silk fence. What are you going to put on that?
You're going to put those logs down.
Right.
Yeah. So is it 10 feet from the
See that I would defer to Brendan on.
Yes, 10 feet.
10 feet from the wetland? So you think A1, A2, A3, A4, which is the gradings, A5, and A6, would they all apply?
Yes.
Yes.
Looking at drainage and runoff, which is an issue here. B1, B2, now the drainage, is the drainage flow being altered by this construction? It isn't.
No.
Yes, it is, because they put in a building in a sediment basin.
And you actually did a drainage map, so report. So I think it's been somewhat, but you have a.
No, there was existing, that area that where the project is, there's a kind of a high point in the middle, and some of it flows to the wetlands and some of it flows back to the driveway and the existing site, and we've matched the peaks to the wetlands. We actually reduced the peaks to the wetlands with the pond, the design of the outlet structure.
Yeah,
And then the ones to the existing site is mitigated.
Yeah, I think for us, it's just the condition that we have there. I think B2 applies.
B1, B2, B3. B4 says that a registered professional engineer must certify in writing that there's no increase in runoff.
Upon completion of all the drainage components, so when the
Right.
work's done, they have to certify that it's
Right.
going to meet it.
B5, B6, which calls for a paved berm to be installed around the perimeter of the parking lot.
I don't know if we need that.
I don't think that's actually, because you're actually capturing the water as it's moving, so as they're constructing. B7,
Yes.
B8, which is catch basins. Okay. So would you agree that all but B6 apply? And there's no catch basins, so B8 wouldn't apply.
Right.
Okay. Wait, is that a consensus?
Yes.
I don't think, yeah, I agree. Yeah, C doesn't apply because there is no, we're not in the
Flood
floodplain.
control, not a flood area. Surface water and groundwater quality control. So this goes really to where the parking is too, and any chemicals. So,
Was there a water quality plan required with the previous one? They did do a, sorry.
well, this is only construction.
No,
Do we have the orders and conditions?
This is long-term.
For the previous one.
Right.
yeah, the previous one.
And
Let's see if they said they were going to do it.
so Nancy's going to get that. Actually, I'm going to stop. Right.
I did the recording.
Oh, you do? Okay. So while Nancy gets the older orders for the other area to see what we did on surface water and groundwater quality control, we actually weren't here. I think I might have been here, I'm not too sure, but the rest of you weren't here when this was done before for the other side. So they just want to look and see what the previous commission did for this area. But E, wetland replication plans, does not apply. Would you agree?
Correct.
F is wildlife habitat protection.
Does not apply.
And it doesn't apply. It's been ticked off in the nation template, it doesn't apply. G is the on-site conditions. So this is just the house rules about the actual construction. That there should be the orders should be on site. Waste areas, waste products should be deposited, not on the project site. No discharge, spiritual fuel, petroleum products, no on site.
I think all of G.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think for G5, we usually use 50 feet. There's no more, the materials will be stockpiled,
Yeah.
50, more than 50 feet away from the wetlands.
So what that is, Mr. Hurwitz, is G5 says all debris, fill and excavated material, construction material and building material shall be stockpiled more than 50 feet away from any wetlands or resource area. So all of G applies, that's a consensus. H is administrative conditions. In other words, that if there's any more work, notice intent has to be done. H1 really applies to housing estate, housing construction, I think. Well, it does have septic system, but I don't think it applies here. H2 is that this order applies to every successor
Yes.
of owner. Yeah.
I think H4 is the next one that applies.
H4. H2, H4 simply says that there's order and conditions as a statement to any other plans agreements you have with subcontractors.
H5 and H6 too.
H5 is the certificate of compliance, which is like a capstone. It's really for your benefit. It says everything's done. And H6 says 2 as-built plans should be filed afterwards.
Page 7 also.
Page 7,
And H8
H8,
and H9.
and H9. Okay, and H7 says that, whatever we ask to be done should be an ongoing condition. And H8 and H9 really deal with if there's any sale of the land later on, these orders continue. Thank you. It's usually typed up, isn't it? Like that. Where did they put the Nancy? I'm just looking for the orders, the particular orders.
The numbers in that.
Oh, you just delete anything that's not a block record, didn't you? Okay. So, the previous commission looked at this site with the different construction when they were doing the main building. And for G, are we looking at G? Which one are we looking at? Here.
We're on H, but
Right, we're on H. Well, we're looking, why did we send?
Okay, now what was it?
We sent it on
It was C, wasn't it? It was D, surface
D.
water and groundwater
Surface water.
quality control.
So, actually, the lads didn't do anything for D.
Didn't do anything?
They didn't do anything. Maybe I got this wrong. No, I don't think I got this wrong.
Okay, well, that, I didn't want to start implementing a water quality plan if they didn't do it before. So I would suggest that we do D3. And is there any reason that we should require no rock salt here, which is D4? There's not we're not near the
No.
water supply at this point, right?
Plus, the town puts a ton on Ashland Street, Groveland Street anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's just, usually you worry about it as you get closer to the water supply. Near Myers Well, I think you'd
Yeah.
want to think about it. Okay, so I guess D3.
D3.
Mhm.
Just to go back, we're on H now, I think.
Yeah, I think we pretty much took all of H. I think we're on I.
I, which is the work schedule and sequence of events.
I1, I think, is appropriate.
And registry of deeds. Well, I think you do that anyway. Right? So I2, A, and that they have design professionals working on this. So it's interesting. Actually, you see it calls for a timetable to be submitted to the Conservation Commission and stuff like that. But A, I think A through H usually applies. Do you think? Literally says that somebody is supposed to be monitoring it at any time and not to go in.
B, C, D, E, F, G, yeah, and that's what they did before. They didn't, I don't think H applies because there's no road.
Yeah.
Okay.
And J is just special conditions. So I don't think this is so well done. And it's like the other project we did, it's just so well done. Do we have any special conditions on this?
I don't see why.
The only thing I would think about is the fence on the retention basin, but nobody else seems to be chiming in.
But
It's just,
it's blocking the trees.
Yeah,
On
I
the
don't.
landscape, you got, how many trees? 12 trees?
just-
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's blocked in with them.
would it be for safety, or would it be for mosquito control, or would it be for?
it was more for safety than anything else.
Is there a requirement, if it's gonna hold more water for a longer period of time, that it has to have a fence around it? Or-
No.
I don't. Okay.
It's usually, it's just a lot of times we will request it, especially in more high-traffic areas like a parking lot.
Well,
It's
how's
more-
it working at the moment with your site? Because you do have a big detention basin in front.
Most of the time, it's pretty dry.
But was that a retention or a detention, do you know? Was it designed with an outlet or not?
Yes.
It does.
Yes,
It had an
it does
outlet?
have an outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this one isn't gonna have an outlet, so,
It does have an outlet.
This
They all have to have outlets.
Yeah.
It drains in 72 hours.
Yeah.
into the ground. I thought it didn't drain into the wetland.
No, there's an outlet pipe of 1.2 feet.
Oh, then I'm
around
okay.
the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm
Okay.
fine. I don't, like, it's a detention then.
Yes, I mean, it's both, it infiltrates and it.
Yeah, I understand.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm fine.
All right. So we don't have any special orders as such.
This is the old one, so put that back in the file.
So we can do those orders. Right, we're happy with that. All right, do I have a vote on those orders?
Make a motion to approve the orders.
Second.
Okay, all those in favour?
Aye. Pass these
Thank
down.
you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for doing this. It's terrific. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
I'm just, Nancy and I are just passing down the signature page for the orders. Right. Okay, the next item is a notice of intent by Shane Crowley, J&S Realty Trust, to construct single-family dwelling and site appurtenances within the 100-foot buffer zone within the 200-foot riparian zone at 75 and 99 Ashland Street. Do we have a number for that? We do. And the DEP number is 084-0477.
Any DEP notes? No?
Pardon?
No notes from DEP about it.
No, I don't think so. It's just, well,
Oh,
I mean,
that's
that's
fine.
just
It's fine, sometimes they'll put notes on it.
right. So, who do we have? Mr. Wheatley. Right. I'll go do it on
you all again. You may know my name is also Wheatley, and I'm here with my associate, John Cotter, and the Crowleys. We are proposing a home on Ashland Street. There really are no serious issues with this. I'll let Mr. Cotter explain it to you and answer your questions. I'll answer the easy ones. You can take the notes. But it's an ideal situation. There's a brook involved. Down below, this is halfway up. If you know Ashland Street, you go in off of Route 18, you go up the hill, up the first hill, you will go by this house, this proposed house. And you can see the stream here, 100 feet and 200 feet here. So, very few issues, very attractive site. John, do you want to?
Sure.
Okay, just the details of them, and
Yeah.
if I can add some, I'll
Okay.
try to.
The reason that we are here is because of the Rivers Act and the fact of the matter is we are within, we're going to be constructing within the 200-foot riparian zone. It is allowed to do activity within the riparian zone. The border and vegetated wetlands line, which is shaded in green, we're leaving that completely alone and within the buffer zone, with the exception of an area in here which is really an area of overgrowth of not even shrubs, they're like briars and just overgrowth that just to create a backyard, we thought it would be a good idea to take that down so that they can reseed it. What we've done is taken this area, we looked at the whole site because under the Rivers Act you have to look at the whole site, look for alternative ways to create what you want to create, and pick the best area that you can. So that's what we did. We used the entire site, which enveloped both number 99 and number 75 Ashland Street. What the river does from here is it continues, it becomes a stone swale or a stone trough, if you will, just beyond the stone barn that's out there. And it continues down towards Ashland Street. And then it goes into a culvert that goes under Ashland Street, behind the second green at
Strawberry
Valley. Thank you very much. It eventually goes under Route 18. That's the path of the river. And so, that being said, as you come down Ashland Street, it just got worse as far as the activity and the impact that you would have had on the river. So, this area here turned out to be the best area, and under the act, you're allowed to not having a good day for words today, but you're allowed to work up to 10% of the river area. And the river area on our site was a little over 32,000 square feet. So we were allowed to utilize about 3,200 square feet of the 200-foot riparian zone, which is about what we did. We used a house. The house is going to have a garage under. We graded it so that it works really well where it's high towards the street, lower towards the back. So it's set up very well for this style of design. What we planned on doing, although because it's a single-family house, we don't have to do anything as far as flood control. What we plan on doing is creating a dry well to pick up all of the roof runoff and put it into the ground to recharge the water table. Lastly, we looked into the wildlife to see if there was it is not an area that is in the wildlife habitat, off the wildlife habitats map, and also the fact that this particular area was pretty much a lawn area versus an area that would have vegetation that would support animal life. It's more a lawn area, so that again was another reason why we thought that this area would be the best area to utilize for any development on the site. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to give you over the rest week.
In the backyard here,
Yes.
I guess, where is your limit of work? Where do you stop?
The limit of work would be along it's highlighted here in yellow as a hay bale line or hay bale or silk
So is that
line.
the 3,200?
No, the 3,200 is actually just in here where the contouring is.
So
The only activity that's being done back here is just to basically de-brush anything back here.
So you're going to remove the vegetation back here
Back here?
and put a lawn in?
In here, yeah.
Yeah, because I understood the disturbance to be, 10% is the maximum.
Correct.
So the 3,200 that you can disturb the lot is like right at the back of the house. So this extra space, you're not adding any fill.
No.
No, but you are going to take everything down that's there and take out the brush and everything back there.
Right.
So, and then you're going to grade, you're going to seed it.
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure
No,
I
that's
understand what
exactly what
you're
we're
proposing. I'm not sure that, I haven't done this riverfront stuff in a long time, but it seems to be pushing the edge of what's allowed. So that, I have a bit of a problem with that piece. I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Yep.
It's not everybody at the board right now, it's just my opinion. The other question I had for you, is there, the flood zone, they're not in a flood zone?
They're not in the 100-year flood zone at all.
No, they might be in the 500, but they're definitely not in the
Right,
100.
correct.
Okay, that's good.
Are there any other comments? I actually know even though this is a single family house and you have a buy or waiver on the drainage issue, where you are working in riparian plain, it would be an issue, I think, for the Conservation Commission. And that's why I think that you're putting a well there.
Yeah, dry well to pick up the roof runoff.
Excellent, and I think that's a good, we would have, I think, suggested something like that here, and that was a good idea, because of where it is, even though I understand you don't have to do that.
Is this connecting to town sewer?
Yes.
Yeah, eventually. For now, we're just gonna sit on it, basically.
I had one more comment. I think you explained very well your alternatives, like what you did. I don't think you said that in the summary. I think you talk about why you don't need the wildlife habitat, et cetera.
Right.
But I don't think you said it quite that well. I would
Okay.
ask for a revision of that, what you said was great.
On the alternative analysis, you mean?
Yeah, because it's really about the alternatives.
Right.
I had another question for you, and this is mostly, I was trying to get the answer, but Dennis's regs that are here are missing every other page. I noted that they ask you, was the lot where the activity is proposed created prior to August 1st, 1996?
Correct.
And I only have half the reg there.
Okay.
So I can't tell. Is there a reason that they asked that question? And how does that impact you?
That is when the Rivers Act was passed.
Correct.
And so, well, it was a little after that, but what they did is they went back to that 1996, so that they would give people, a lot that's created prior to that, they give a lot, they give relief to. So in other words, you would be allowed to do things like within the 100 feet, within the 100-foot riparian zone, you would be allowed to do that. As long as you were it would be something like that you would have to prove that you're improving the situation. In other words, like we've had like commercial properties that they want to make into residential. They look the DEP, when I've talked to them about that, they look favorably on that because it's less of an impact on the river. Anything after 1996, the 100-foot. You can go into it with certain things like your drainage and so forth. But as far as activity is concerned, they want that 100-foot preserved.
Guys, I don't know what anybody thinks, but I do have a bit of a problem with the space being expanded in the back.
This here?
This piece, the backyard, is, another area. This is the 3,200.
Yep.
The 10% is right
Right.
here. So that, I have a problem with it, but I don't know what anybody else thinks.
This has been used in the past as a yard, right?
As a yard. That's
Yes.
correct.
So the backyard is really staying the way, except for removing the shrub and the brush.
That's correct. That's correct.
As it's always been used.
It's always been it's always been a lawn.
I don't have a problem with it.
They didn't file this as a redevelopment, though. There's different
This one
rules.
here.
No, I know, but which property on which side use that space that you're building?
This property.
75.
Yeah.
So it would be more than 32,000 square feet.
32,000 square feet
Is
is
just
the
the
size
building.
of the lot that you are measuring.
That's the
So
amount.
10% of the lot that they've created is 3,200.
Right, and if they went further than that in the back to clear the rest of it out, there'd be more than 3,200.
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
Which is more than what the requirement is. There is a section on redevelopment, but they didn't file it that way either. So.
It seems to me that actually you're not, contrary to what we just chatted about there, you're not actually changing what the land was done. Constructing the house up to a point,
Right.
but beyond is that hay bales, the yellow line?
Yeah, beyond the hay bales is staying the way that's just being left alone. That's staying the way it is.
And that's certainly within the 100 feet. And you're just leaving it as is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well outside.
Has anybody walked the site?
I didn't walk the site.
No, I think because of the weather conditions, I don't think any of
It's
us.
not
Just
bad.
had 10 inches of snow.
I
Down
know.
by it, but you're walking.
When are you guys going to construct on this? When are you going to work?
Wouldn't be probably maybe the end of March at the earliest.
So the only question I'd have is that the way the regulation states, is it ground disturbed building, or is it anything that's taken off the,
Dennis is missing every other page, so I can't tell you. I don't think they state it as well. It's, I think, something we might have to look up or call DEP and ask. Because, you know, I understand, most of the work is being done here.
because if it was just they decided not to do anything back there, just a building, and then came back in and said, well, we're gonna vista prune the backyard now, would that be?
They would be in the, I don't know that,
Right.
I don't know what you would do, because whether you'd amend the conditions or whatever.
What's your question on that?
Like, if the way I'm not really sure how the regulation states, if the 32,000 square feet is just the building alone itself,
3,200.
3,200, it's just the building alone itself, does the regulation state that for them to disturb the ground there, like digging up the ground? And whatever else they're doing in the backyard would just be like
Well, the
vista
foundation,
pruning
from
and
what I
stuff
can
like
see, all
that.
they're doing is just taking the briars and shrubs and so forth that are.
Which is flood control.
Which would be just,
And then they're gonna put a lawn in.
right.
So it's replicating as far as I'm concerned, just taking
How far is
the.
that from the back of the house to the hay bale?
This-
50 feet maybe?
Right here?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Probably a little more than that. This is 20 scale. No, it's about 50 feet.
Mr. Feeney and I were saying that they actually are allowed a vista too, in other words, that they can cut down the shrubs and all just to make it look good.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
vista, so that that is permitted. I
They're
mean,
not actually doing any construction past
No,
3,200.
we're not doing anything here other than removing the shrub. The briars.
Right, the brush, you know.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 50 feet from behind the house
So
there,
you're
so.
just letting them have a backyard,
Yeah, that's
which
the
is
only,
already exists except for briars and so forth.
Right.
And they're just gonna add a lawn, or just improve the lawn.
yeah.
I mean, we can't see it now anyways, it's winter time.
Yeah.
Most of the are both homeowners here, or is it just Miss Lovett?
Just me,
Just you. So the only reason we're asking about, looking at this is because the river is so close, and it's within the 200 feet buffer zone of the river. So that's why we're looking at that. But it doesn't seem to be an issue.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I don't
really
agree
don't.
still, guys. Just so
You don't agree?
No,
I mean,
and we don't always, we're not always
Right.
going to
No.
agree.
Right.
But I will tell you, I
Yeah.
don't agree at all.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
we can, everybody else is on the team, right? Is there anybody who wants to comment about it, or on the floor? No?
All four.
Yeah, you're all for it, you're all for it, right, we get the hint. But, I mean, what we can do is certainly, if you're agreeable, we can certainly continue it to the next meeting, which is 2 weeks, where you're not actually doing construction yet, if that is an issue. To look at the issue about the amount of, Mr. Feeney asked, is anything disturbed in the ground, or is the 3,000 odd feet, does it apply just to the construction, or does it apply to any work that's done? But even if it did apply to any work, I would say that it's already a lawn here,
Right.
and they're doing it for Vista. So I'm not too sure if
Just
that would even.
clearing out, just as you would do in your own backyard, anything that might be encroaching or just
I-
briars, brush.
It would give us 2 weeks though to actually have a look at it. I'm not suggesting we go all the way in.
Yeah.
Well, but if we can, at least if you can go in to see what this looks like too.
Right, on paper, I don't see it as being a problem, but since they're not even planning to do anything for another month and a half anyway, maybe it would give us an opportunity to do a site visit
Yeah,
if the snow.
we're gonna
clears,
send
just
you
to-
in.
Just to see if there's anything. I'll put on my big boots.
No mosquitoes.
Just to see if there's anything glaring that, of concern.
Well, let me just ask, what do you think, Mr. Crowley? Would that be okay, or is there?
Oh, no, that'll be fine. That area that we're talking about is pretty much, it's pretty much a level piece. And there's lawn all the way around it. So we're just pretty much just cutting that brush out. We're just gonna plant grass in. We're not digging a hole. or anything like
Dennis,
that.
it's almost self-explanatory what they're doing. To hold them up for 2 weeks just to go walk and say yes.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to hold you up, okay? I really wouldn't. But are we holding you up, or you're not doing anything?
Well, my only concern would be the 20-day appeal period, because right now it's under agreement with the Lovitz.
Oh.
So that might put us over the purchase and sales agreement, because it's based on approval.
Well,
I think that anybody on this board would do the same thing with their backyard if there's a lawn existing. I don't think we're disrupting anything, or they are.
yeah.
And we are, elevation-wise, we're like almost, from the river to where we're talking about, we're 8 or 9 feet above the elevation of the river in that area. I understand what you're saying, Kathy.
Well, because you guys went to the max, or for me, you've already gone to the max.
I didn't even look, to tell you the truth, I didn't even really think of that as a disturbance, because it's just a low bunch of briars that you go in and just.
You've already gone to the max that you're allowed.
Absolutely.
And
That's all I could do.
it just is, it's my personal
Sure,
opinion, it's
I
not the
understand.
board's
I
at this
understand.
point, but I think that there was a reason we put in the Riverfront Protection Act.
Well, would you want them not to remove the briars and shrubs, or
Well,
or just maybe even report back about what they did? Would that
report
be
back.
the easiest way? Yeah. And we could do the orders, and if you're agreeable, you could come back and just show
Yeah,
us
you can just come
photographs.
back and amend it.
Come back with a back piece.
Yeah,
Come back
well,
and just amend it, you can amend it. put the-
amend it if
amend the order.
necessary.
So they can just put it
Because
back on.
yeah, I'm talking about closing it today, and then you can always come
And
back.
by that
and
time,
photographs.
the snow will be gone, and you'll be able to see exactly what will be
Right.
going.
Would
Right,
that be
because
okay?
I honestly have not seen the property either, so, and
We're going to send Bill out, but
Yeah, we are.
the problem with that is that he's not going to see anything either.
well, the problem is there's so much snow right now that you're not gonna see anything through it.
So it might be a good
Some
idea to
shrubs.
close it out with orders, commissioners, and then simply ask them to come back at a date, give them a date in our meeting where you can simply come back to tell us how it's going.
That'll be fine, thank you.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that a consensus?
That's good.
That makes,
That's
yeah.
All right, is there any other questions or comments? Okay, it's from the floor. You're the team, you're all out. Thank you very much. That's a super presentation. Thank you. Do I have a motion to close out the hearing on this?
Motion to close the hearing?
Second.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll close out the meeting on 084-0476. And what I'd like to do now is do the order, if that's okay.
I'm gonna pass that back out.
Does everybody have one of these? Now, here, if you look at the first one, does everybody have one of these? Yeah. A1 through 6, they're actually, they're not in the wetlands, but they're in the riparian. But so we still put, prior to the commencement of activity, siltation barrier fence shall be placed, the limit of work line.
At the
10
limit
feet.
of work line?
Yeah.
And just
In fact,
stop.
they're actually putting the barrier further back.
Putting up the hay bales.
Yeah, the hay bales. So A1 through A5, or A6, would you agree that applies?
Yes.
Drainage. So drainage certainly does apply here, I think, even though we talked about it. So B1, through B3. That's all, I think. What do
And
you think?
B7?
B7?
Is B3 really required?
No,
Any drainage structure? I don't think
there's no
that's-
drainage structure.
Yeah.
Oh, they're putting a dry wall in, so
Well,
maybe, dry well, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
They're actually
There would
putting
be.
a drain in.
So they put a drywall on
Yeah. They're not within the floodplain, did I hear that?
That's correct.
Right.
So C would not apply, do you agree?
Yep.
Surface water and groundwater quality control,
No,
No,
I ain't gonna apply. Wetland replication plans,
no.
so they're not actually going into the wetlands, so it doesn't really apply. Wildlife habitat, so they looked at that and they actually marked that it doesn't apply on the
Right.
notice of intent. G, on-site conditions,
Yes.
so G,
One.
1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
5, 50 feet.
6,
Is that
and
right,
7.
Kathy? 6
Yeah.
and 7. And that's just the work that you do site, to keep the petroleum products off site. And then H, administrative conditions. Well, now this is actually a house construction.
Right.
So,
But it's not a subdivision.
no, they're not doing another house. So certainly H2, which is the successor.
H4.
It simply says that you attach the order conditions to all your subcontracts.
Five.
5, which is your certificate of compliance, you want that.
Six.
It means that the project's over and you've done what you did. H6 is you give 2 as-built plans.
Right.
That's when you come back, show
So-
just what you did. H7,
8,
okay.
9.
H8 and H9. And H8 and 9 really talk about it continuing perpetuity. So if you sold that house, the next owner would actually have to follow the rules here. And the work schedule and sequence of events.
I1.
Okay. And presumably is it being filed with the Registry of Deeds? Because you're selling the house, so yeah, so I2. A, I think we're very lax about things like the timetable, but being filed with us. But certainly you should follow the rules here, A through H, do you think?
Yep.
And it just lays out the steps that you take. You know what? G doesn't apply, does it? The replication plan and timetables
No.
designed by professional weapons. Cost a fortune. And we don't have to do that, so that doesn't apply. Do we have any special conditions? Like I said, if they hadn't done it, I would have suggested some kind of drainage outlet, even though they didn't have to do it, but they're actually doing that.
Right.
So that's excellent, I think. Is there anything else?
So Dennis,
Yes.
we are getting ready to approve the plans and the conditions we just put on there.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
As presented?
as presented.
All right.
Okay. So all those in favour?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, unanimous.
All those
Sorry,
opposed?
actually, did we have a motion? Did somebody
No.
propose a motion? This chairman, I don't know. How did the job. Thank God he's going to be gone soon from chairperson. So do I have a motion to approve the notice of intent as presented with the orders
Motion to approve as
Okay.
submitted.
as submitted? With our orders, okay, second. All those in favour?
Aye.
Okay, all those against?
Me?
Okay, it's against. Right. Okay, and then I think with that, we have, don't we have a list of meetings? When do you think the project's going to be over? Is it in June?
Probably about the end of June somewhere in that area.
I have a list.
4 months.
Okay, I got one here. So we have 2 meetings in June 10th or June 24th. Would you be able to come back on June 10th just to tell us how it went and maybe show photographs of the vista area that you were going to clear? Is that okay?
Well, did the board want to take a look at that?
Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
can come out and have a look, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to schedule it for that meeting, and so we'll probably, because it's scheduled, you know, we would have gone out today to have a look, or before this to have a look. It's just that it's covered with snow at the moment. But usually we go out to have a look at, we call you up, get your permission, or the landowner, and have a look at it beforehand. Is that okay? So maybe we'll put it on again on June 10th, just to keep tabs on what's happening with the Vista.
We can even do it sooner if it's okay to do this.
Sure. I mean, we could do it May. Do you want to do it in May?
Yeah, May would be excellent, actually.
So we have May 13th. is the
That'd be fine,
first
thank
day.
you.
That'll be before everything grows in too.
What do you think? All right. So thank you very much.
Thank you very
Great
much.
presentation.
Thank you. Have a good night now.
Good night.
These are Dennis's. Dennis, you're missing pages, I think
I know.
every other page.
No, the poor powers gave me that.
Oh.
Yeah, they're really super, but yeah, you're right. I forgot after I gave it to you, I remembered, yeah. But I should use my computer.
Good.
I gotta put mine in a little thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night now.
Good night.
The little one's easy to bring back and forth.
Yes, I did. Next time I'll call you to come back.
And Nancy and I are just passing along the signature sheet for the door.
I've already been. Just put mine down. What are we signing the orders conditions for?
Minutes.
I don't know.
Which one's this for?
That's for the last
Crowley.
one.
Take him down on the road.
I'm not signing that one. I can't.
Yeah. Told him yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Glad I asked.
could we look at the, actually, Kathy, you had something for us.
What I did was, we're working towards a filing fee form, but what I did was I gave you a copy, Nancy actually gave you a copy of the bylaw itself. I thought it was probably a good place for us to start. I'm sorry I didn't come up with a proposed form, but I think I was having trouble figuring out what you guys consider minor and what you considered major, and I thought reading this might be helpful. As you can see from the bylaw, the first violation is a warning. The second time you violate it, it's $50, and it moves up 100, 200 to 300 for fifth and subsequent violations. Really, I think the intent was that we would mostly do, we would warn people. The intent wasn't as a revenue generator, but more of a tool to get people to comply.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, if we need to, I think there's been cases where I think it might have been helpful. And the enforcing person is, a police officer, the building inspector, but members of the other boards as well, as you can see here. And you have to pay it within 21 days. You can appeal it to either the town manager, or you can go to Superior Court, but the way of this is to keep everyone out of court. And we can also adjust it as we see fit. If we think that, somebody's coming to compliance, we can relieve it as well if we want. So I thought that would be helpful for people to look at.
Excellent. So it is within our bylaws already.
Right, and there's an established fee schedule.
Yeah.
Because I think we were talking about 25, 50, and 75, but this has established it for us.
So I say, the whole idea of this is not punitive.
No,
It's
it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool for us, and how we use it. I think we had talked about the last time through enforcement orders.
Yeah.
We were just going to put, you can refer to this bylaw
Yeah.
and, say, in accordance with the bylaw, this is your warning, but, or whatever you want to say. Dennis will say.
That sounds good, yeah.
But you're subject
I
up
could
to.
type it in to everyone.
And you can type the bylaw in so that people have some place to look.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. And now I think we wanted a second sheet of some kind for, to attach to enforce, to continuing events.
Right.
So I'll try to dream that up, but I guess what I really needed from you guys was, what do you think is a minor, and what's a major, and what do you want to do? And I'm thinking for a minor, if they ignore the first warning, we give them a $50, warning.
in
It's
the
not
air.
like, it just a shot in the air, of
Yeah.
like $50 for the minor stuff. But I think if they refuse to cooperate with an enforcement order, you know, something a little more.
We will vote on the violation first, right, at a meeting?
Well, I guess that is a good question, because I've been pondering that, actually, Mike.
In other words, we,
I don't.
not one person can just go out and say, you gotta stop this, here's your violation. Do we,
I think we can all, every one of us can go out and give an enforcement order and sign it as conservation members, but we have to have it ratified at the next meeting. And I don't think any of us, I don't know that I would want to hand somebody a fine the first time I handed them something.
so it would go in order, kind of a cease and desist, would that be considered the warning?
Yes.
Yes.
Then it's pretty,
And then by that time,
yeah,
it will be to the board, and then the board can act on
yeah.
it.
Then
Right.
I think it's almost self-explanatory that they're either gonna stop what they're doing, or a notice of intent, or the violations will be put into effect.
Correct. And what I'm thinking is the more major thing is somebody working in the wetlands and refusing to stop once they've been told to stop.
Right.
And that may, I don't know
Which-
if that would constitute an emergency
Well-
meeting of the board. I guess that was a
Oh,
question
yeah,
I
I
had.
think-
That answered my question, because Dennis has given out cease and desist orders without us voting on it.
But then
So
he brings it
right,
back.
right.
Oh, but I do
But you
think-
can, if you see
Right.
something, you can take that form and
Yeah.
fill it out and sign it. I think we haven't been crazy about, none of us really want to issue an enforcement
Right.
order. We would prefer
No.
just to ask someone to stop.
Right.
But,
So the initial warning would be issued by one of us,
yeah,
and then if it continued, would the second violation be issued by, say, like a police officer or whoever?
Well,
Any of us
it's-
here?
One of us went
We'd have to
there.
vote on that, we'd have to vote on that and be brought before the board.
And then
He
we
would
go
have to
from there.
explain or give a notice of intent, or stop doing what he's doing, whoever,
Right.
the land. And if they don't stop, then it goes into
The
voting
second
for the
violation.
violations.
Yeah, I think if there's something that, well, just to the extreme, if we came across somebody that was digging, like with a backhoe in one of the streams, try and make a little pond in his backyard, you'd instantly go out there and say, hey, what are you doing, stop. And he goes, fine, forget about it. You come back the next day and he's still doing it. We should probably have somebody call an emergency meeting to say, this guy can't be doing this. But if it's just
That would be
somebody,
the immediate cease and desist.
Right.
Right.
But that wouldn't entail a
But-
meeting.
but if we did it where we'd have to wait till the next meeting, the guy keeps digging in his backyard day
Right.
after
No,
day
that
after
would,
day
that would be
after
the
day.
cease and desist, which could be done at any time by
Right.
anybody. Then to take one of these violations, that would be if he did not cease and desist, then the violations would be voted on to the extreme. I mean, it didn't even have to go to a second. If somebody is just doing what they're doing,
And
and
well,
it's in a real, then the violation
Yeah.
can start off at 300.
Yeah.
Okay?
And
In
you
other words,
can,
prove a point, you can't do this.
right,
Right.
and I think the board as a whole will decide whether it's a daily or just a one-time fine.
Right.
But I also think, to your point, is if there is something that you see that's really bad, that you've issued the warning, they haven't stopped, and they're digging in a stream,
Well,
calling an emergency meeting is appropriate.
The other thing is that, and to be very honest and open, you know that there are people that'll just take that $50 a day
Sure.
fine, continue, do what they're gonna do and say, okay.
Right.
Correct.
Bill me.
Well,
But 300 a day might stop them.
it
Right.
might. But actually, if you think about it, what they have to do in remediation is probably far more costly. I mean, all these plans that we have before us, they cost about $3,500 to do, where they have to work out where the wetlands and all that stuff are. So that's why I'm not sure if we ever will come to a point of a second violation, if even we come to a first, because in our worst cases, they always come before us immediately,
In
really to stop the
In
cause.
the past, Dennis, we have had people that wouldn't stop.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
But I would like to say something. I'm not too sure if emergency meetings are really necessary. I mean, how it works is that I always tell you that you have the power to cease and desist.
Yes.
I mean, it's a regulatory board. There's only about 3 boards like this in the town of Abington, and commissioners do have incredible powers to go on land. If they see something, or not go on land, but issue what is effectively an injunction restraining order. But that is, you're actually representing the whole board. And that's why I've never done, even though I've given out one, I still go back to our next meeting and tell you about it. And, you know, in at least one case, you didn't ratify it. So, you know, you ratify it or you don't ratify it. And it's the, you're representing the commission, the whole commission, when you do that, and the commission itself ratifies. And that's the same with violation, you know, penalties, enforcement fines. You don't do it singly. In fact, that is something that a member would not do, I think, but rather would, in the quiet of a hearing, would look, and the whole commission would have a look and see what the issue is, and say, well, they've obviously violated, and we'll issue that violation. And then the application of that, sure, you can actually refer that to the local police. But it's, and I'm not too sure if we did have an emergency meeting once in, was it Centre Street, and that really was called at the request of the building inspector, who's an officer of the town.
It's not something I expect to do very often or ever. But, you know, and you can also get a meeting going in like 2 or 3 days as well, so that if we needed to meet, we could.
But
if there was something that just wasn't,
you know, that I like us to meet just regularly. I don't, you know,
understand.
I
think, you know, we always think of the worst, and really, I think for the most part, this is just more of a tool than anything else.
Well, thank you for doing that work, though.
I didn't do anything. This was, this was already done.
My next question is, now we'll go back to the form which you were proposing.
Right.
Now that this is, it's actually a bylaw, which I didn't know, we can probably make up some kind of a form, or just a letter from the...
I say refer to the bylaw. Worst case scenario, to staple the bylaw, this bylaw to the letter. You know, don't make more paper for ourselves. That's what I think.
I actually like that. I like that a lot.
The other thing I was thinking of also too is that when we were talking about before, when we give out cease and desist orders, there was never anything on the cease and desist orders about a fine.
I did put on one.
Now we're talking about a fine. But also, too, I don't think anybody really knows that they could actually have to replicate anything that they do. So I think maybe that should also be put on there also too, is to say, here are your fines. But in addition to that, you can be brought in front of the board, and you can be made to replicate anything that you disturbed on your property.
If the board so
sees fit, right?
Yeah, the cease and desist does actually have a little paragraph, a little line about replication. Because there's a list of things. What do you want them to do? Well, file notice of intent, but there's a whole lot of things there, and one of them actually is replication. Because in actual fact, $50, not a big thing for a contractor. Replication of wetlands, putting in trees, serious cost. Serious cost. So, you know, and that's what, you know, we're talking about professionals usually here, and they know what's involved here, landscape professionals.
People, you know, like the homeowners we had last time, they had no idea.
No.
So it's, they just came in. Was there even a cease and desist on that, or did you just invite them in?
I went there, told him stuff.
Oh, okay.
Tennis told me to go there.
That was nice. That was nice.
But he doesn't want to do it, he sends me. Just like Chestnut Street. Go up there, Joe, and tell him to stop.
Although, you know, how did they cut down the wood? Did he cut down the tree? I can't remember. Did he say he cut down the trees himself? Or
He had a pile as big as this room when I got there.
I know, but he probably had some of these. That's why I think maybe education of the you know, landscape professionals that are out there mightn't be a bad thing, because, you know, that they, to be honest, they know about it. But if they're working in,
they had it by the house because it's been through. I mean, the flooding they had years ago. Remember the flood? You know, everything flooded. The whole street flooded when it blocked out.
And it's funny you should mention flooding, because if I can move to correspondence, we have a note from the DP because of the severe weather emergency. They ask us that they're amending the regs, just simply if people have to come immediately and do some work immediately, that it will be covered by the regs. And they issue this often for emergencies. We get this, I think we got this last time too when there was a storm, simply saying that people might have to go in close to wetlands and work very quickly and then come back, and they shouldn't be penalised for that. And so that's correspondence that we got from the DP on that.
To take down a fallen tree or something.
Yeah, that kind of thing. You know, it doesn't mean, because, you know, I would like to get away from, you know, doing cease and desists on things like this, on fallen trees and all that stuff. And in fact, we have the landscape people actually call us. They call Nancy when they're working in the area, and that's much better, so that we know. So in case a butter does call, or we go out and have a look, we send Jerry out. Or if it's really dangerous, we send Bill out. The other correspondence we got was a letter from, so I think we get this every year. We got a letter from National Grid saying that they're doing a herbicide, they're doing the herbicide application notification. It's going to be done, the treatment periods are January 13, 2014 through June 2014, or it could be done between, that's CST and Basol, and then June 2nd, 2014 through October 17, 2014, and then October 17, 2014 through December 31st, 2014. And this is really a notice that they're required to give to the towns, municipalities, that they are going to do the herbicides. This is the area that they passed. There's a few maps here. And I can see Mr. Noon wants to have a go letter. I'm going to pass that to him.
Here, it's for you.
I think the only thing about that was that we asked, last time we were asking what kind of herbicides are being used. And what were the chemical compounds within the herbicides?
Did we ask both of them? Because I know National Grid was one, and then there was the MBTA. Also gives us a letter also every year to do herbicides along
we just get
the railway.
That's right. We just get a response from them saying, go look at our website. All the information is there on the website.
Oh, you have a different part of the map than me.
Yeah, what do you got?
I got over by North Abington.
Yeah, this is the high tension going through the Whitman, Strawberry Valley back through this way. Over the Plymouth, and then this one is some. On the other side. Yeah, so there's Stop and Shop in the other one. So this is the other one that comes up that way through the mustard fields, the backside.
So I think the only thing is, you see, Jerry, that they have a well circled there.
That's our Myers well, and that's our water supply, one of our water supplies.
I can feel a letter coming on here. Is anybody concerned about the...
Did they get this approved from us? Did they give us a notice of intent for this a while ago or something?
No. Under the regulations, they just have to give us notice that they're doing it.
I think we should...
And they even say that they don't have to do that, but...
I think we should probably write them and tell them they're going right through our well field. Yeah, because one of them used to go do the rail tracks. Oh, this is National Grid. They used to go right behind St. Bridget's.
Yeah, the one that Jerry has is all wetlands. So wetlands all behind.
But Myers Well, that's why,
Myers Well,
that's
all.
what we drank. So I actually think we should write a letter and ask them to reconsider what they're doing in that area.
So, given that this is a National Grid map, and did they identify the well?
Yeah, they do. That's what's crazy.
So,
it's right here.
Is it to say that they're aware of that and they would avoid that
No.
area?
We don't know.
They have it circled.
We don't have anything from them.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe that's the area that they want to touch.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, but.
It just says public well 400 feet buffer.
Okay,
Doesn't tell you what that means.
okay.
I don't know.
Maybe they won't spray within 400 feet of it.
That's what I think it's implying, but like,
As long as they get rid of the coyotes.
They say right here that they have, please review the enclosed map that locates the right-of-way corridors and plotted locations known as sensitive areas, including public and private drinking water supplies.
okay. So they are identifying that as a.
If there's any additional, they want to know if there's any additional sensitive areas that we know about that they have not identified. So they've identified any public and, or private too. They must have to notify about any wells. Yeah, private wells, it says right here.
Yeah, because a private well is done right, it should be registered with the town of
Right.
Board of Health, so they don't know it. They have a
Exactly.
record of it.
Exactly.
They stay right here. We particularly rely on this process to collect corrections to the public wells and to record the location of private wells. So they've identified it as much as they can.
Right.
And
The letter is addressed to Mr. LaFond, and the people who are actually in charge of well information are actually the health board, right?
Yes, that's
It's
correct.
the health board, not us.
I will note that there are no private wells indicated on this map that I can see. Or either
but a
map.
private well has to be, you have to have a sign out in front of your house. Okay, if you have a registered private well,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
you
tell
have to
us.
have.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the map's
So
not showing
who
it.
would coordinate
I don't-
that though? If we had a list of private wells in the town?
Board of-
The health board.
So the Board of Health would have to look at these maps now and say, okay, along the route, there's a well here, 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 and here. Have they
So
ever
what
done
they're
that?
doing, they're killing the weeds on the right-of-ways. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's probably just a roundup application. It doesn't say what they're actually using. Could be a, says here, whatever the DAR recommends, so. I mean, it's just something they have to do. They have to be able to get to it.
Nancy, do we know if Mr. LaFond sent that to the health board as well, or is it just sent to?
I think we got that copy from National Grid. I don't know if Board of Health got a copy.
And I probably should go to the water department as well. That probably is the right answer.
Yeah.
So maybe we could send that to the health board. Not that I really
And
want.
water.
And water, yeah. As long as we don't bring
Makes
them on.
sense.
Yes,
Yes.
so we will do that.
Well, it's the right place, I think, actually.
absolutely.
I think
Makes sense.
they're the ones who are actually going to be able to verify the private wells. And the water department probably, if there's a concern, is much more likely to be the ones that
Yeah.
should be able to respond to it.
You have before you the minutes of January 28, 2014. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
You do? Nancy, you wouldn't have an extra copy of those minutes, would you?
Yeah, I have one here.
Oh, you do? Okay, thanks, never mind. Thanks.
No.
Make a motion to approve January 28th minutes.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Bill? All those in favor? Jerry, did you have a look at the building permit?
Yes, everything was all right.
Yep. Okay.
No wetlands at all.
All right, and then just on quick open space update, actually, I don't have any news. They're working on the open space report, so we should get it very, very soon. 50 cents work,
Taken down the house.
and we're going to pass it to the various
Across from the high
boards
school,
to
the high school.
make comments on.
And then Nate, something for a building.
Is there any other
That's the
business?
south.
Just one question, is there any update on the arch?
No.
Not sure.
I just put the bids out last night, I watched.
Yeah.
At the library.
Yeah, the bid went out again.
Okay.
It went out again?
Yeah, because when it came in, the low bidder had actually submitted a typo on the amount, so that it had to go out again.
Wow, I'm glad nobody sends back my cease and desist orders. They always have loads of typos. Okay, and we might have the schools or something right for us sometime. They're talking, even though I was saying I don't know if it's necessary, but
They're still talking about it.
still talking about it. Okay, no other business. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Russ, second. Mr. Noonan, all those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh,
What are you doing,
congratulate
Bill?
Joe's son being home.
Wanna ask you a question?
To walk.
A little